The Grand Canyon is a place of immense scale. Its beauty captivates millions of visitors annually. Most come to see its geological wonders. They marvel at the layers of rock telling Earth's story. Yet beneath this surface lies a deeper mystery. Whispers of forgotten civilizations echo through its vastness. These tales suggest a human history far stranger than we imagine. One of the most persistent stories begins with a man named G.E. Kincaid. He claimed a remarkable discovery in the early 20th century. While prospecting for minerals, he said he found a huge cave. This was not just any cave, he reported. It was a man-made citadel, carved deep into a canyon wall. He described tunnels and chambers filled with ancient artifacts. These artifacts, he claimed, were of Egyptian or Oriental origin. Kincaid's descriptions were truly astounding for their time. He spoke of urns made of copper and gold. He mentioned tablets covered in strange hieroglyphs. He even reported finding mummies preserved in the dry desert air. The exact location of Kincaid's cavern remains a mystery today. The legend of Kincaid's cave continues to fuel speculation. The tale of Kincaid's discovery did not remain a secret. It burst into public awareness with a newspaper article. On April 5, 1909, the Arizona Gazette published a stunning front-page story. The headline was bold and captivating for readers. It proclaimed, "Explorations in Grand Canyon." The article detailed Kincaid's alleged findings with great enthusiasm. It spoke of discoveries that would revolutionize archaeology. The Gazette article described the findings in considerable detail. It mentioned Kincaid's journey down the Colorado River. It pinpointed the cave's supposed location, though vaguely. The newspaper reported that the Smithsonian Institution was involved. It claimed Professor S.A. Jordan was leading an expedition. This expedition was to investigate Kincaid's fantastic claims further. The article suggested the government was taking this seriously. The story described the cave as immense. It had passages radiating from a central chamber. There were rooms filled with tablets bearing hieroglyphs. The article mentioned granaries, suggesting a long-term settlement. Naturally, the Arizona Gazette article sparked immense excitement. It also generated considerable debate among scholars and the public. The legend had been firmly planted in the public imagination. Following the sensational Arizona Gazette article, what happened next? One might expect a flurry of official investigations. However, the official record is curiously sparse on this matter. The Smithsonian, named in the article, has consistently denied involvement. They state they have no records of Professor S.A. Jordan. They also claim no knowledge of such an expedition to the Grand Canyon. This official silence has only deepened the mystery. If the discovery was real, why was it not pursued? Some suggest a deliberate cover-up by mainstream institutions. Perhaps the findings were too challenging to accepted historical narratives. Over the years, many independent researchers have tried to find Kincaid's cave. They have scoured the remote and rugged areas of the Grand Canyon. However, no conclusive evidence has been brought forth. The harsh terrain and vastness of the canyon make any search difficult. Mainstream archaeology considers the story a hoax or a misunderstanding, yet the story persists, refusing to fade away completely. It leaves a space for doubt and for alternative theories to flourish. One of the most intriguing aspects of this mystery is not underground. It is visible on any detailed map of the Grand Canyon. Many buttes, temples, and towers bear distinctly Egyptian names. There is the Isis Temple and the Tower of Ra. One can find Horus Temple, Osiris Temple, and Pyramid Terrace. These names were given in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They were given by early explorers and mapmakers. Why were these specific names chosen for these majestic formations? Clarence Dutton, a geologist, was influential in naming many features. He and his team were inspired by various world mythologies. The prevalence of Egyptian names, however, seems quite striking. Could this be a mere coincidence, a flight of fancy? Some researchers suggest the names are too specific. They argue the frequency of Egyptian themes is too high. Skeptics argue the naming was purely imaginative. There is no direct evidence linking the names to actual Egyptian presence, yet for believers in the Grand Canyon's Egyptian mystery, these names are significant. If Egyptians did reach the Grand Canyon, how could this be possible? Mainstream history states that Columbus was the first European here. It holds that ancient civilizations lacked the means for transatlantic travel. However, this view has been challenged by some researchers. They point to evidence suggesting ancient seafaring was more advanced. They believe long-distance voyages were undertaken much earlier than thought. The ancient Egyptians were skilled boat builders and navigators. They sailed extensively on the Nile River and the Mediterranean Sea. They also ventured into the Red Sea and perhaps beyond. Could their reed boats, like those depicted in ancient art, cross an ocean? Thor Heyerdahl famously demonstrated that papyrus reed boats could. His Ra expeditions in 1969 and 1970 sailed from Morocco. The Ra II successfully reached Barbados, proving the voyage was feasible. Proponents of ancient contact theories suggest this is key. They argue Egyptians could have used favorable currents. The Canary Current and Atlantic Equatorial Current could carry ships. Such a journey would have been perilous, but not impossible for determined sailors. Beyond Kincaid's story and place names, what about actual artifacts? If an Egyptian colony existed, it should have left material traces. These would be tools, pottery, inscriptions, or even structures. The Arizona Gazette article described such items in Kincaid's cave. It mentioned copper tools, statues, and hieroglyphic tablets. However, none of these artifacts have ever been presented. They have not been studied by mainstream archaeologists. Their existence remains purely anecdotal. Over the years, various individuals have claimed to find unusual objects. These objects are sometimes presented as evidence of pre-Columbian contact. These are often termed out-of-place artifacts or UPAs. Each such claim requires careful and rigorous scientific scrutiny. Most are eventually dismissed as misinterpretations or hoaxes. The scientific community maintains strict standards for evidence. For an artifact to be accepted, its context is crucial. Where was it found? What was its archaeological association with other objects? Without verifiable artifacts, the theory remains speculative. The lack of hard evidence is the biggest challenge. The Smithsonian Institution plays a central role in this mystery. The 1909 Arizona Gazette article named a Smithsonian-backed expedition. Led by Professor S.A. Jordan, it allegedly found Egyptian artifacts, yet the Smithsonian denies any record of this. This discrepancy fuels conspiracy theories. Some suggest a deliberate cover-up. They argue the Smithsonian found something revolutionary, perhaps evidence of ancient Egyptians in America. The story goes, the evidence was hidden away. These theories paint the Smithsonian as a gatekeeper of history, suppressing inconvenient truths. This is a serious accusation. The Smithsonian is a respected research complex. It has contributed immensely to science, but some find its denial suspicious. They see it as proof of controlling the narrative. Beyond Kincaid and the Gazette, other perspectives exist. Native American tribes have inhabited the Grand Canyon region for centuries. Their oral traditions are rich with history and mythology. Do any of their legends hint at ancient visitors from afar? Some researchers have looked for such connections. They try to find parallels between local myths and the Egyptian theory. Some Hopi legends, for example, speak of their ancestors emerging from underworlds. They also tell of great journeys and migrations. Could these stories contain distorted echoes of ancient events, perhaps a memory of encounters with foreign groups, or knowledge of hidden cave systems within the canyon? Interpreting oral traditions is complex, however. Stories change over time and meanings can be lost. Directly linking them to Egyptian explorers is highly speculative. Alternative researchers also explore other possibilities. Perhaps the Egyptian elements were not directly from Egypt. Maybe they came from another intermediary civilization, a lost civilization that shared cultural traits with Egypt. Indigenous perspectives offer valuable insights into the region's history. They deserve respect and careful consideration. The mystery of Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon endures. It has captivated imaginations for over a century, combining adventure, lost civilizations, and hints of conspiracy. Mainstream archaeology dismisses it as a legend or hoax. Yet, for many, it symbolizes incomplete history. It encourages critical thinking about accepted narratives and fuels the desire to believe in a mysterious world. For now, the Grand Canyon's Egyptian mystery remains unsolved.